Today I'm going to be sharing with you homemaking like I love to do on this channel. I love to inspire you as I take you through my home and make it a home, clean it, decorate it, cook for the people in this home. But along with that, I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite homemaking habits. So things I've learned over the past 15 years as a homemaker that has made it easier, more manageable, and something that I don't feel like I'm constantly behind on. So let's dive into homemaking here in my farmhouse. Over the last day or two, I have filmed me doing all the things that I do all the time, whether a camera is rolling or not. And through that, I want to share with you homemaking habits. Now, before I dive into the habits, I want to give my little disclaimer, just because I know that if I would have heard this exact video 15 years ago or 14 years ago, name every year between now and back then, that I wouldn't have been able to fully relate to any part of this video. I could have taken bits and pieces, taken maybe some advice or inspiration from some parts of it, but there are some parts that really just depend on where you live, how many children you have, the ages of your kids, whether you are homeschooling or you go to work or you work from home or you're a stay-at-home mom. There are so many things that you might think when I share a certain part of my habits that, well, that the way that you're saying you don't do it works just fine for me. I don't see any reason to change it. And you're right. There are certain ways that I've done things in the past that wouldn't have worked now, and things that I do now that wouldn't have worked then. Another example of something that could make this variable would be your living situation. So we live in a house where we have main floor laundry, and coupled with that, part of our laundry room is also part of our guest bathroom. So for those two reasons, whenever I share about my laundry routine, doing laundry daily is the only way that would work here in my home. If you have to walk really far to your laundry room and it's very out of sight and you can stash a lot of laundry because it's far away and it's not somewhere people go a lot, the once a week laundry routine would probably work very well for you, and it'd probably be very inefficient for you to, say your laundry's in the basement or something, run downstairs 4 times a day and change laundry over, instead just settle into maybe a once a week laundry routine. So with all of that being said, make sure you adapt this for whatever your situation currently is. The first homemaking habit, I think this probably applies to everyone, is to clean the kitchen all the way between every meal. Have you ever walked into your kitchen and thought, the dishes are all done, the food's put away, but it still just feels disgusting in here? I know I have. This is something I've had to really work on with my kids, because I do have older kids who can help me now. And there's a difference between what a mom notices and what kids notice. Now, you can bring it to their attention, and over time they get better about it. But I find myself constantly saying, just because the dishes are done doesn't mean that the kitchen is clean. We need to wipe down all of the surfaces, wipe the countertop, wipe the table, wipe down the high chair that the baby was in, sweep the floor, wipe it up real quick. I find that whenever I stay on top of this, so between every meal, you do this quick once over, it never gets to this point of this place is absolutely disgusting. Now, there have been very busy days where we have let this slip, and I can't even hardly be in my kitchen because I cannot stand working whenever everything is disgusting. Now, of course, there are certain things that go undone. I don't every day wipe down the light fixtures that get a little bit greasy or the shelving above the kitchen stove. But just in the spots I work, if there's a little spill of egg white on the counter and then somebody gets a little bit of flour on it, and then before you know it, it just cakes up and it's just disgusting. It's something that needs to be addressed between every meal. Another factor for cleaning the kitchen completely for me is putting away excess clutter. Now, it can seem a little bit easier in some ways to just leave the Instant Pot out. You might be making yogurt today and 2 days from now, so why put it back in the cabinet in between this one day where you won't be making the yogurt or the bone broth or whatever it is you use your Instant Pot for? For me, there's also a cheese press, there's a blender, there's my food saver vacuum sealer, there's Banneton baskets. There are certain things I leave out. I find that they're charming, they're part of the decor. But there are certain things that if the counter always has all of these things that I'm not using all day, every day, I find, especially with kids helping in the kitchen, it makes it a bigger job than just the act of putting it away would have. So say that in our case, a child goes over to make cookies in the KitchenAid, and right next to it is an Instant Pot, a cheese press, a blender, and they turn it on really fast and flour flies everywhere. I now have to clean all of those things. So for me, a step in cleaning up my kitchen between meals is making sure that most of the clutter is reduced so that I can wipe down the surfaces and then be ready for somebody to make a mess and it only get the counter dirty. The next homemaking habit that we've gotten into, especially as parents with 7 kids, is to do laundry every day. I mentioned the reasons earlier why this works for us. If you have a setup where this makes sense, to me, this is the easiest way to stay on top of laundry. We really don't struggle with staying on top of laundry in our house, and I think that's because we all pitch in and we just do it all the time. We put clothes directly into the washer for the most part. Now, there are a few things we like to sort, like whenever we clean the cow before milking, we like to wash those rags separate. I like to wash my cheesecloths separate. But other than that, we just throw stuff directly into the washer. We start it when it's full. We throw everything into the dryer after it's washed. And then we have a couple of baskets to sort from there. So we have a basket for all the upstairs clothes, a basket for the downstairs clothes. Everybody knows that you instantly put away socks and kitchen towels. And then it's reduced down pretty quickly whenever we stay in that routine. Even if somebody doesn't take and actually put away the clothes that are in the basket, we can stay on top of laundry with that system. Now, about once a day or once every other day, the clothes that are in the baskets need to get put away. In the summer, we can almost live out of the baskets because the clothes are not bulky, and so we can just put kids directly into the clothes. They don't even have to ever go up to their drawers. But in the winter, it gets too bulky, it's too much volume in the laundry room, and so we do put the clothes away. But this little routine makes it to where we can stay on top of laundry. We never feel overrun with laundry. I want to take a little break from my homemaking to tell you about today's video sponsor, Brook Linen. I have shared about Brook Linen many times here on this channel. I have beautiful linen sheets from Brook Linen in a few different colors. They are so comfortable and luxurious. I actually spent the night in a hotel couple nights ago because I had a one-night trip away. I'm always so happy to come home and to sink into my most comfortable bed with my linen Brook Linen sheets. They are very breathable in the warmer months so that we can remain cool, but they also keep us warm in the winter. They have that crispy flax linen texture, that slightly loose weave that's both beautiful and extremely comfortable, especially the more you wash them. We've had a lot of our Brook Linen sheets for many years, and they just get more and more comfortable each time I wash them. Brook Linen actually just launched a full laundry and fabric care collection. Brook Linen is the authority on high quality home products, and they wanted to give their customers a better way to clean and care for linens and lengthen their lifespan. The laundry collection includes 1 bottle of detergent, which comes in 3 different scents, a bleach alternative, a fabric softener, stain remover, fabric refresher, and a set of wool dryer balls. You can save 15% by buying the bundle versus the individual items. We have the Brook Linen Hardcore Linen Bundle, which includes the fitted sheet, the flat sheet, the duvet cover, and 4 pillowcases. Instead of buying individual items, you can save 25% by buying them in the bundle. Each piece of linen is washed and dyed in small batches, giving this collection a playfully unique and individual character. I have several colors, and I find one as beautiful as the next. My Brook Linen sheets are the most comfortable I've ever slept on, and I couldn't recommend them more. Brook Linen is currently having their birthday sale right now through May 8th, so you can save 25% if you want to stock up on bedding and bath essentials for 2023. Now is the time to take advantage of that using my link below. Again, head to my link in the description box below to save 25% off your order for Brooklinen's birthday sale. Again, thank you so much to Brooklinen for sponsoring today's homemaking video. The most effective homemaking habit that I have established over the last 15 years as a homemaker is to declutter. This sounds simple, but it is the most effective change that we've been able to make in our home. If you're constantly struggling to keep up with a tidy home and you don't feel like you have time for much else in a day, you likely have too much stuff to manage. I've been there in the past and it's a continual journey now, but I know that when I keep this place lean as I can with 9 people, of course, it's just easier to manage everything. Many years ago when I started adopting this lifestyle, I had a few things that helped me to wrap my brain around getting rid of certain things that I felt like I could use or need someday. One of the parameters I like to think of is if I saw this item at a garage sale today and it was, say, 10 bucks or less, would I purchase that item? And if the answer is no, I know that I can get rid of it, because on the off chance that someday I regretted getting rid of that or I found that I needed it, I could go pick it up for less than $10 and I would be able to find it instantly because I could just go pick it up. Now, if you are a super organized person, and I don't feel like many people are organized enough to manage a large amount of stuff, then you probably can find whatever it is you're looking for even when you have too many things. But if it takes you several minutes or up to an hour to find the thing you're looking for, in my opinion, in my home, it's almost better if it didn't exist here, because there's some level of management that comes with everything. So if I have to move aside a certain kitchen utensil in order to get one out that I need, and it's something that I use very infrequently, or I could use something else to replace it, that's whenever I decide that it has to go. This is something that I feel that we've done pretty well with. There aren't tons of things around here that we don't use, but it is something that I have to constantly evaluate because things come in. Like, just for example, I just got into this cheese making hobby now. And because of that, there were a lot of items that I brought in because of that. I needed a really large stock pot to fit in large quantities of milk, a cheese press, different sizes of molds, different cultures, cheesecloth. And with that, there are probably some things that, because I now own this really large pot, there's probably another pot that I should consider getting rid of. So because there are new things coming in this house, whether it's from a new hobby or you were gifted it or you came across it and it was a really good deal, you will find that it's a constant thing that you need to think about, but it does just make it so much easier. I was telling somebody today, I don't remember when I was having this conversation, that I feel I had more toys whenever I just had my one child than I even have now. Now, there's a couple reasons for that. I thought about it more since then. One is that kids can play together, and so you don't need as many toys to entertain kids because they can play with each other, go run around outside, ride bikes, whereas an only child might need a little bit more help to entertain. But also, I think it's just been my mindset shift, and I've seen how little my kids have played with certain things. And so we have very lean amounts of toys. We have the Duplo blocks, we have regular size Legos. That ends up being a lot, like, around the house, but at least we can keep it in pretty manageable amounts. Each room has a few toys, but nothing crazy, and it just makes it to where we all can manage everything a little bit better. On that same note, dealing with paper clutter immediately is a habit that I've gotten into that's really helped. So whether that is a box that you've ordered something in, or junk mail, or statement or something that comes in the mail, you know, obviously signing up for e-statements really helps with that. But we keep a constant pile of stuff. We make lots of fires around this farm because we're always burning brush. We're still trying to reclaim pasture. And we constantly are taking anything that came in that's maybe should be shredded, or just that we need to get rid of. Keeping that paper clutter very instantly gone has really helped for there not to be stacks of stuff laying everywhere. My next homemaking habit is to learn how to cook a handful of basic from scratch meals so that you know what to stock in your kitchen for quick meals that don't require you to go get takeout. Several years ago, I shared a video on this called My 5 Tips for Having Healthy Meals Without Meal Planning, where I go into the strategies that I've learned that have allowed me to not come up with very detailed meal plans where, you know, you have to get certain grocery shopping lists and it all becomes somewhat overwhelming. I also feel that whenever you meal plan, if it's not a seasonal meal plan, something that's written for what's currently in season, you will end up spending a lot of extra money because you're buying something that you shouldn't be buying this time of year, or you're not able to pick up avocados when they're on sale, or source things from the farmer's market or your garden. I like the flexibility of cooking with the seasons. And when you learn how to cook a handful of basic things from scratch, it makes it to where something that used to take a lot of mental effort no longer does, and that gives you more time to devote to other pursuits in your homemaking. My next habit is to clean while you cook. I have one child who absolutely loves to cook, and whenever she's in the kitchen, I'm always reminding her, when you're done with the cocoa powder, put away the cocoa powder. When you're done cracking an egg, put that in the compost and wipe that spot. Just to constantly be cleaning up while you cook if the time allows. Usually there are moments in cooking where there's a little bit of downtime. If you strategically work through it, you can have the kitchen clean whenever you are done cooking, so that whenever you're done eating, all you have to do is clean up the dishes that you made from the meal. It doesn't feel as overwhelming. I know that this just comes with practice, because when you're first learning how to cook in your kitchen, you might have to actually think through all of the steps, but over time, be encouraged that all of this will be such second nature that you can multitask and get something clean while also cooking. It's something that does come with experience. It makes it to where cooking is less overwhelming. If you end up, when you're done cooking a meal from scratch with a kitchen that looks like a tornado blew through it, you're not going to be very encouraged to want to keep cooking from scratch, because in your head, that's something that's a huge job, a huge chore. It means that you're gonna be staying home, cleaning all night after that. My next habit is to do stuff when you see it. Big cleaning days are sometimes necessary when I get behind, but they're more overwhelming. When I first got married and kept this home, I was used to the once a week cleaning schedule. My mom worked outside of the home. We all went to school. And so we weren't in the home constantly getting it messy. That changes things. If you are in a home cooking in it 3 times a day, straining the whey off of yogurt and ricotta cheese, and peeling potatoes and freeze drying stuff from the garden, you are heavily using that space all day. Kids are getting books off the bookshelves. They're going in and out of the house, tracking things in. Your home at the end of a week will look very bad. If you only do once a week cleaning, it'll also overwhelm you. Although it is nice to have a house that's cleaned all at once, it's not a very practical habit for a homeschooling family with a lot of kids who cook from scratch and fully utilize the space. It makes a lot more sense to just clean things as you see them as you're going about your day. The number one reason for this isn't just practical, like, oh, you can actually get it done more easily if you can address it as you see it, but it's also a mental thing. Whenever I look around and I see this certain spot 6, 7, 8 times in a row, I get this little bit of anxiety that tells me I need to clean that. I don't like that big smudge on the wall. When really, if I just wiped it up the first time I saw it, it wouldn't put any more stress on me. So instead of a once a week cleaning day, I prefer to wipe a handprint off the wall when I see it, sweep up a spill, clean the bathroom often. I've gotten into this routine with our main level bathroom for cleaning it light but often. So that way I don't have to do this massive deep clean. A few months ago, I realized that I hadn't like cleaned the bathroom in a while, and it made it to where I needed to spend hours cleaning it. So I have this new routine that I'm doing in all the bathrooms that make it a really fast process. I don't have a certain day of the week where I always clean the bathroom, but if I walk in and I feel like it's starting to look a little bit grimy, this probably averages once or twice a week. I have a quick routine that at least gets it back up to par. I shake out the rug, I take out the trash, I get the baskets off the floor, I put my robot vacuum in there, I fill the little water tank with a mixture of vinegar and water. I fill the bathtub about 1/4 of the way up, add a little bit of bleach. This really helps whiten the bathtub without a whole lot of scrubbing. Otherwise, I have to spend a ton of time with magic erasers. It's got a very rough surface. Now I know we can refinish it, but we tried that in the cottage with one of those sealer kits. Those things are horrible. They come off like peeling paint. Anyways, I can get it perfectly white if I add a little bit of bleach with water, put that robot vacuum in there, start it, wipe down the counter, swish out the toilet. Just those few things that take me probably 5-10 minutes of my time. I always open the window too and shut the door. That way the vacuum gets trapped in there and the bleach can go right out the window. That's when I go in there and I drain the bathtub and take the vacuum and put it back on its little charger, put the rug back on the floor. It just shines like I cleaned it for an hour. And since it only takes me 5 or 10 minutes, I can do it often. The upstairs bathrooms, I do the same thing with. They don't get near the use, so they don't get disgusting very fast because they're in kids' rooms. They really only get used at night. But I do the same thing. I pull stuff off the floor, put the robot vacuum down, wipe off the surfaces. There's no clawfoot tub in there, so I don't do the bleach thing. Often, daily maintenance by all people in your house, if you can get everyone on board, helps to maintain a level of cleanliness that makes you not stressed out. My final bit of encouragement to you in this homemaking habits video is to just keep going. Becoming a good homemaker is an actual skill that gets easier with practice. Not only do you get better at figuring out how to make a meal from scratch without a recipe, and without it taking any mental energy, what products work best for your family, how much clutter you can live without, but also what routines work for your family. The truth about homemaking is the secret ingredient with all of it is that it just takes constant motion. And over time, you learn how to be content with that constant motion. It's never done. And in some ways that sounds kind of depressing, but also whenever you realize there's no magic system that keeps the kitchen from getting dirty 3 times a day and laundry from being dirty, it makes it easier to just press on, get what you can done in the day, and know that it's part of the gig. You're not doing something wrong. There is not an easy ABC solution that's going to make it be a lot easier. The only way to make the homemaking job just go away completely is to not spend any time in your home. I love my home. I love caring for it. And so the mindset shift toward this is my calling. This is what I'm doing. I am maintaining and making this place beautiful for the people I love. It really does make it easier to keep pressing on. Over time, these things just become less of a big deal to you. Procrastination will be your biggest enemy in homemaking, especially if you have a large family, because it's hard to get back ahead when you slip too far behind. So my biggest tip is to stay on top of it. It won't be easier when you come back to it later and you have the stress and mental anxiety over the mess on top of the work that has to be done. Not procrastinating is a habit built over time. So if you struggle with this, there's always room for improvement. And of course, none of it has to be perfect. It's a work in progress. And I hope that my homemaking videos encourage you to keep on going and building and making a beautiful home for your family. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you are brand new to my channel, please hit that subscribe. I make a new video every week on food from scratch, natural living in a handmade home. Thank you so much for stopping by our farmhouse.